Hello my dear friends, this is Rajesh Mahapatra. I hope all of you are doing well and happiness. In this session, I am going to tell about the concept of GKE. How do you create a GKE cluster using GCP console portal? Apart from this, I'll guide you how do you create a GKE cluster in different types of mode like autopilot mode and standard mode. And I'll show you in the lab how do you deploy an image to the GKE cluster so that you can easily understand it? Based on your project requirement, you can implement it. Guys, let's get started. Hey guys, as you can see here, this is the Google Compute Engine web portal. Now guys, you navigate to the Kubernetes engine. As you can see here, click on Kubernetes engine here and it's navigate to the Kubernetes cluster web portal as you can see here. Now guys, you can create a Kubernetes cluster using this portal. As you can see here, this is one create button is available here. First of all, just you click on create button here and wait a couple of seconds. As you can see here, this is showing us the autopilot cluster here and asking about you can configure your name and region, and as you can see here, this is the name of the autopilot mode and region. This is the default name guys. You can customize your autopilot cluster name based on your requirement. I'll customize here my first cluster as I mentioned the name of the cluster as my first cluster, and I selected as the default region here guys. If you want to change the region based on your requirement, you can change it. You can select the Asia specific, others, whatever you want guys. Suppose you are from Europe or is your client is located as Europe, then you can select for the Europe region and US regions based on your requirement guys. But the practical purpose guys, in your practice purpose, just you can select the US Central one here because this is the less pricing as compared to other region. Then click on networking section guys. As you can see here, this is the default VPC and default subnet because I don't have any private network, so that I selected as default network and default subnet here guys. And then click on advanced setting here. As you can see here, this is the all the couple of section is available here. Automation section guys, if you want to enable the maintenance window, then click on checkbox here. And similarly guys, answer service mesh, security, operation, and so many options are available here guys. Based on your requirement, you can select it. Then guys, you can review it. Then what is the cluster name? My first cluster, the cluster location is US Central one way, and the networking is all as default, and I skip all the remaining step. As you can see here guys, this is all the default. Then click on create cluster here and it will take couple of minutes guys. As you can see here, my first cluster is creating now and the cluster is being created as you can see here, and you can wait couple of minutes to create your autopilot mode cluster guys. Click on refresh button here. As you can see here, the cluster is being created. Till now it will take couple of minutes guys, so that you can wait. Then I'll show you how do you deploy an image inside that cluster guys. As you can see here, my first cluster is successfully created, and as you can see here, the mode is represent as autopilot mode, and as you can see here, the total vCPU is 0 and memory till now that is showing as 0. Now guys, I'll show you how do you deploy an image to your autopilot cluster. As you can see here, this is a options like deploy here. Then click on deploy button here guys. Now as you can see here, the container section guys, the new container, there is having the two options, existing container image, or you can select the new container image. Guys, in this demo I'll show you for select the existing container image, but later I'll show you for our upcoming session how do you create a new container image using Git, GitHub and the Bucket repository. Guys, now for an example, if you select the new container image here, as you can see here, it is asking about the select your repository, because you have, suppose you have stored in your image in a cloud bucket, then you can define the cloud bucket repository path here, then name of the image here guys, and as you can see here, these are the some supported variable guys. As you can see here, there is multiple options. Suppose for an example, you have to select GitHub, then you have to fill all the details about GitHub, and if you select for the Bitbucket, then you have to fill all the information field detail here, as you can see here. But now I'll select the existing container image here guys. As you can see here, the Nginx lattice, this is the image path. Then click on done here guys, then click on continue, then leave as it is all the field here guys as default. But this is the important step guys, this is a cluster. Suppose guys you have having multiple cluster inside that Kubernetes engine portal, then you have to select the desired or appropriate cluster name here guys, because I don't have any another cluster here, so I selected my first cluster here guys. But if you have multiple cluster, then you can select here for your appropriate cluster. And if you want to visible the YML file, then you can see the configuration YML file section here. Click on view YML. As you can see here, this is the deployment YML file having the replica 3. It means it will create 3 pod here guys. Then as you can see here, the horizontal autoscaler is available here. This is another YML file. As you can see here, the minimum replica is 1 and maximum replica is 5. This is the autoscaling sections guys. This is briefly defined here. Now close it here, then click on continue, then finally guys you click on deploy here, and you know the expose, this is the optional option, you leave as it is guys. Then click on deploy here and wait a couple of seconds, it will successfully deploy and create pod. Guys, as you can see here, after deploy your application, now the total vCPU is consumed 1.55 and the total memory is consumed by 6 GB here guys. If you want to connect your cluster, then click on here guys, then click on run cloud shell here and wait a couple of seconds, the cloud shell terminal window will be appear soon. Then guys press enter, then click on authorize, then write the kubectl get pods command guys here. As you can see here, the 3 Nginx pod is successfully running now here guys. Then kubectl get deploy. The name of the deploy, as you can see here, Nginx 1, and all the pods are ready. As you can see here guys, the 3 pods are successfully running now here guys. Now kubectl get svc, that is a service guys. As you can see here guys, there is no external IP, because guys, just you have to leave as it is for the expose as the optional choice. But now guys, I hope so you can understand how do you deploy in application image inside the cluster. If you want to exit the cluster, then guys, exit command here. Now you exit guys. Now I hope so you can understand how do you create a autopilot mode cluster in Google Kubernetes engine portal. I'll show you now how do you create a standard mode cluster guys. Similarly, you click on create here. Then guys, as you can see here, this is the option switch to standard cluster. Click on here guys. Then next click on switch to standard cluster here. Guys, as you can see here, this is the standard mode cluster, and you can configure all the information field here. Just as you can see here, this is a standard cluster. As I mentioned, the name of the standard cluster, and I selected a zone here guys. And if you want to select the region, then you can select the region here guys, and based on your requirement guys, this is the way you can create a standard mode cluster. But in my free tier account guys, if I click the create cluster here, as you can see here, I don't have enough quota to create this cluster. You can practice all the Kubernetes cluster for create a autopilot cluster mode guys. But as you can see here, this is a free tier account. If you want to create a standard cluster mode, then you should first add or increase your quota size, that is means memory and storage size. Then after that, you are eligible for create a standard cluster. Now guys, I hope so you understand now how do you create a autopilot cluster and how do you create a standard mode cluster based on your project requirement guys. Now if you want to delete for your cluster, then you can select here, then click on delete. Then you can of the cluster, and here then click on delete here, and wait a couple of minutes guys to delete your cluster guys. As you can see here, the cluster is being deleted now. It might take couple of minutes guys, so that you can wait for your cluster successfully delete guys. As you can see here, the cluster is successfully deleted here. Click on refresh. As you can see here, there is no cluster is available in Kubernetes engine web portal guys. Now I hope so you can understand how to create a Kubernetes cluster using the Google Cloud Console portal. I hope so you understand now how do you create a autopilot cluster mode in Google Kubernetes engine web portal. And thank you and have a great day.